we'll gather round, feel the love compound. Blue elephant is strong.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So Let's Resin recently sent me some goodies, and they sent me their epoxy resin kit. Now this is the epoxy resin that comes in the black bottle, and in it you get some micas, you get some pigment dyes, pumps, some mylar flakes, a bunch of craft sticks, little spoons, that beautiful pink little silicone tool, which I absolutely love, and I'm so glad to get another one. And of course, your part A, part B, and your instruction book that is very detailed. Now, for today, Geneva asked when I did the last Lotus box, she said she would love to see it in blue. So that's what we're going to do. First, I'm going to mix up some resin. Now, I am doing, I think it's like 10 ounces I mixed up. So 5 part A, 5 part B. We're going to mix this up. Now, obviously, I'm going super fast speed because you don't need to sit here for 5 minutes while I mix. And then I am going to go ahead and put my colors in. Now, she wanted a baby blue to go into a darker blue on the bottom. So that's what we're going to do. Now, of course, I thought I was recording for the first bit of me mixing the mica and then realized that it stopped and I forgot to push record. So, yay me. So I've mixed up both of my colors. Now I'm going to put it into my bubble remover by Let's Resin, and this is about 6 minutes I leave it in there. Now, what I decided to do is I'm pouring the top part in strictly the baby blue, but to kind of make it so that it's not such a harsh change from the baby blue in the lid to the darker blue on the bottom, I thought, all right, well, I'll pour just the tiniest bit of this baby blue into the actual box mold so that it'll kind of, in theory, transition into it. So we'll have a little bit of the blue, of the baby blue at the very top, and then it'll go in kind of like ombre into the darker blue. At least that's what I'm going for anyway. We'll see if it happens. Now, as far as the lid goes, it is very embossed where those lotus and lily pads and all of the little dragonflies and all that are. So I did take my silicone tool, I poured a little bit of resin in, took my silicone tool and kind of just messed around inside the embossed area to try and dislodge any bubbles that may have stuck there when I poured the resin in. Poured a little bit more in, and now I'm taking my time with my silicone tool and I'm going around all of the edges of that undercut where the resin can, on those 90-degree edges where it likes to hold on to those bubbles for dear life. And then we're going to finish filling it up. I will go under that undercut, or I will go underneath. No, I'll get it right. I will take my silicone tool underneath that lip where that undercut is for the lid again, just to make sure that the resin is in all the corners. The last time I did this, I did get some pretty big air bubbles that were caught in there. So I do want to just take my time just to make sure that any bubbles that are in there, I'm getting out. Okay, now it is time for the actual box itself. Now I'm just kind of pushing the majority of that baby blue down into the bottom of the box. I don't want it setting on that top bit because that's going to be like the bottom inside of our box. And that's not where I want the baby blue. I want it around that lip, that beginning part. And then we're going to slowly just add in the darker blue. Now, I don't want it to mix completely. I do want it to have where I can actually see the baby blue and then it can kind of start mixing. So I am going to be kind of careful about how much I fool around with my silicone tool down there. That being said, I do want to make sure that there's no bubbles. So I do need to go in there a little bit, but not too much. You want to kind of do that before you add in your second color. Like I'm just kind of jabbing it around, but I'm not dragging it. I feel like if I drag it, that's going to cause that darker blue to go up underneath the lighter blue, and it's going to give me the look that I don't want. hitting it with my heat gun real quick. And then we are going to let this baby cure after I get out whatever that chunky bit was. And we're going to let this cure and come back. Here we are 24 hours later, and it is time to demold this. Now, I'm really, really excited because I have an idea on she wanted, I asked her how she wanted the flowers done, if she just wanted them left the blue like this. She said she wanted me to paint them, so that's what I'm going to do. Now, of course, I don't know why I took so much time out to try and get out those air bubbles, but I feel like I got more air bubbles in this piece than I had in the last one. And I think it's just because when you make it likes to play with your emotions. Like it does. It's like, oh, you're going to take all kinds of extra time to make sure there's no bubbles. I'm going to make sure there's added bubbles this time. Because last time, I don't feel like I took nearly this much time trying to make sure that there's no bubbles. And I didn't get hardly any bubbles at all. This time, I spent all kinds of time trying to get rid of bubbles, and I had more bubbles than I had in either of my last two pieces combined. So go figure. Anyway, just taking my knife right now, I got a little bit, I don't know exactly what happened. There must have been a loose piece of silicone from like one of the corners that kind of got surrounded by resin and I ripped it out. So I'm hoping that it's not going to cause an issue the next time I use this mold. So I had to kind of dig that out with my craft blade and then just going around with my deburring tool just to get off those kind of sharp edges. I didn't want to over pour for fear that it wouldn't fit right. So, you know, okay, we're going to fix these bubbles. But first I want to introduce you to this nifty little flashlight that Let's Resin sent me. Now, I already have a UV flashlight, and you guys have seen me use it in the past. Now, you have seen this one on my channel before because I've actually had this for a couple weeks and I've been playing around with it to see what it's really like. Now, this is a rechargeable UV light, and it is amazing. One, it's smaller, and I'm going to bring my old one out here in a minute. Two, it's got a rechargeable battery. Now, this thing is like super crazy high powered compared to my other one, which is insane because it's teeny tiny, right? Like I love the fact that it comes with its own charger and it's rechargeable because batteries are not cheap, especially the batteries in my other one because it takes like I think it's two D batteries, which are insanely expensive and not used for anything. So it's not like I just have them laying around my house. It could even be three. I'm not sure. I know it's at least two. But that big Mama Jamma doesn't do anything. It doesn't have anything compared to Let's Resin's UV light. So, okay, so I've got this sped up just because you don't need to see all of the in real time. But you can tell, even if you're looking on how fast I'm curing this, and it is curing that fast. When I go to use my other flashlight here, I think it's right here. Look. I used it even longer. And then I checked it. It hadn't even begun to even think about being hard yet. This Let's Resin one, literally like 10 seconds, it's cured. It's freaking amazing. So if you're looking for a UV flashlight, and honestly, I believe that if you are playing with UV resin at all, you should have a flashlight and you should have an actual like curing light. Like this is for little stuff. I wouldn't cure anything big with it. But the fact that it's rechargeable, amazing. Just this is amazing. Anyway, filing down just a little bit where, you know, when I put those little beads of resin and it may be up and over top of where it should be. So I'm just going to file that back a little bit just to make it smooth so we don't have a bumpy finish on the bottom of the lid. And now we're going to paint it. Now for this one, I want to do something, and I've never done this before. I was talking to Emma, my daughter, for those of you that are new and haven't seen any videos with her in it. And she is an artist herself, and she loves to paint just like her father and I. And I was like, you know, this is what I've got going on. She wants me to paint it, but I don't want to do the same thing that I've done. Like, I want to do it differently. Do you have any ideas? And she is like, why don't you do it where it's either you start white and fade into a color, or you start in a color and fade into white. So I thought, okay, well, that's a nifty idea. I've never done it before. Kind of like an ombre effect, right? So why not? Let's try that. So that's what we're going to do. Instead of doing just a full out straight on color, I am going to go with the color in the center, and we're going to go from the darker all the way out to light, to what, not just light, but white. And that's kind of what I'm going to do along the entire piece. And then we're going to deck it out a little bit more afterwards. At this point, I'm just going to kind of let you watch the process of this coming together. I am curious what you guys think about this style of painting. I find it quite intriguing, honestly. The only thing that I would say, as much as I like it, where there could be confusion and maybe I should have done it the other way, is all the white that touches going across from one piece to another, if you know what I mean. So like from the lotus into the lily pads into the dragonfly, like where the white's touching, it's white straight across. So I'm not sure if there's as much distinction between each one of those elements as I would typically like, but let me know what you think. The only other thing that I really wasn't happy about is, like I said before, the amount of air bubbles that I got, which is really, really unfortunate. And honestly, I didn't realize that there were so many in the actual, like, embossed areas themselves until I was painting. And by that point, it was too late to even go through and fix any of them. So I tried to disguise them as much as possible, but they are still kind of prominent. Anyway, I'm going to bounce off, let you watch this, and then I'll be back when we're ready for the next step. Back. Just finishing up the last touches. Now, I did go over a little bit on the white here and there, so I just got a Q-tip and some alcohol and I'm cleaning it off. I decided that I wanted to do something a little bit different with the background, so I got some baby blue extra fine glitter and some of my gloss varnish, and it's been a minute since I've done this technique, and I'm just mixing them up together, and I decided that I want to kind of put that inside that little framed area where the embossments are. I just want to add a little different element. This will give it a little bit of shine. This is a matte mold, so it is completely matte. And I just wanted to have one little area on it where we get some sparkles, some shine, and just to kind of make it stand out just a little bit more. So I'm just taking my dotting tool, and eventually I'm going to transition over to a toothpick because it's just much, much easier and more difficult to work with a toothpick than it is this, because it's smaller to get into all of those little areas so that I'm not getting it on top of where I just painted. I do want to make sure I get in between, you know, like where the flowers that are kind of closed up, just in those little areas. My dotting tool, even my smallest dotting tool, is too big for that. So the toothpick, just, I've noticed it seems anytime I'm doing something like this, that the toothpick just seems to be my go-to tool for it. I don't know why, but I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll find an actual real tool, but until that day, the toothpick is the way to go. So I'm just going to finish this up, and then when I'm done with this, I decided that, especially because of that one big hole that I got along that kind of like bit of like almost like a frame that goes around it, I didn't do it in color because there's no way to cure UV resin if it's completely opaque. So I didn't want to mix in mica powder into it and have an issue with it curing. So it is clear. And I kind of do want to go over that just so that it's not so prominent. So I will take a silver paint pen and just kind of go along the outer frame of it. Just easy peasy. One little kind of swipe around the outer edge and then we're done. And honestly, guys, that's pretty much a wrap on this one. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you guys on Saturday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Together we belong. In every comment right, you lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue elephant crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow. You make the channel glow. Every single view, I owe it all to you. Blue elephant crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care.